7 AM. Look at it. Today we're going to Spencer's Wood. See, it's pretty straightforward in there. Plain old plasterboard. The only thing that's a little bit unique about the job is the shape of the room. As you can see there, I've showed you a full sheet of plasterboard, which is 2.4, which is up quite a bit off the floor already. And then it's obviously got that vaulted, the sloped roof there, so we are going to be up and down ladders. The room's about 3 meters, is round about, it's just over, I think, 3 meters by 3 meters. So we've got that to do in there. A lot of beading up, obviously around the Velux windows and stuff. Is this one worth doing on a meterage? I don't know. I mean, out of a real hard push, one guy one day, getting up and down ladders all day, might, if you really wanted to go for it, get that done in a day. But I think we got 2 days, which makes it easier. Plus we've got some making good in the living room area that I haven't shown you just yet. So we got that to do as well. So I think we will probably stretch this out to 2 comfortable days, so we won't be stressing and leaving a bad quality because we're working at, you know, breakneck speeds and stuff. So let's get on with it. Let's get in there and start scrimming up and start putting the beads up. I mean, these ladders were quite a good investment, made specifically for Wicks. Look, where I bought them from. I've had them quite a while. Yeah, very sturdy. You know, some of the flimsy ladders you don't feel too safe on them, but these feel absolutely rock solid. The only problem is they are a little bit heavy, but you know, plaster and things that move, the mechanisms are very simple and sturdy. Just bang these in to open it. Obviously these 2 legs slide up inside, so you can have it going up stairwells where you've got one side shorter than the other, and also if you bang these again, it turns into a complete straight ladder, and I think you get about 3 meters out of it, I think. But yeah, they've been good ladders, very handy for jobs like this. See this tool here, never seen anything before like it in my life. I wonder what it's for. It's a handle for something. I don't understand. If you know what that's for, let me know. So whilst we're at it then, why don't we do a little review of these as well. This hop up here, made by Juana. Okay, so this is adjustable, and it's been one of the sturdiest hop-ups, I think, considering it's got a lot of moving parts to it. Again, they always used to go here, but this is quite old, and it has no sign of any fracture or anything on this little joint here. So to open the legs, you've got these two little levers here, locks into position, and under here there's another little lever like that. Then you can adjust the height, again, obviously, independently of each other, so in some cases it does work upstairs as well. I believe this catches a little stickier. I wanted to get some WD on this one, because again, get some WD on it, plaster, moving parts. There we go, look, I've got it up. So in combination with these ladders, that hop up allows us to pretty much reach the whole of this lid. As I just demonstrated along that doorway there, where there was a 2.4 piece of plasterboard, and of course the bead is 2.4 as well, so we don't want to put the joint of the bead on the joint of the plasterboard there, because if there is any deviation, which there often is, it's going to stagger, isn't it? So that's why we go the other way and bypass and get a decent bit of length of bead over anywhere where the plasterboard joins. Also, what you might want to do is, because when you cut with snips, what it tends to happen is it kind of like pimples the end as well. So if you need to put two pieces of bead together to make a joint, then you're better off using the machine cut edges from the factory. So cut the other edges, cut the corners, put your cuts in the corners, and then put the machine edges button up together, and you should get a pretty good seamless line that nobody will be able to tell is there when it's plastered. The other thing is try and get those stickers off if you can. They can be a little bit of a pain. What else was I going to mention? Oh yeah, those little bits. So, you know, it's very easy. Just as you're cutting the beads, the offcut, you just chuck it on the floor. And then when you get those tiny, tiny little bits and pieces, if you throw them on the floor and then later in the day you kneel on it, you're not going to be happy about that, I'll tell you. There's a little bit like those ninja spikes, you know, they throw them on the floor, little freeway spikes in it so you can tread on them. Yeah, you won't like them. So what I tend to do is collect all those offcuts up and just get rid of them straight away. And I think it's probably quite advantageous to get all the prep done if you can, because it helps in a couple of ways. In the sense that now I can get rid of the scrim, I can get rid of the snips, I can get rid of that stapler. As you can see, it's very clean because it's never in with plaster at the same time. So now we can get all that done. We can get rid of those tools and get them out of there. Then like you might think, well, just, you know what, I'll get the ceiling going, I'll bead that up, and then whilst I'm waiting for that to go off, I'll bead up everything else. You got loads of tools. You still got the beads leaning up, you still got your stapler in there, you got tools in there, you got more in there than you need. So I find it a little bit of a false economy to do that. So get your beading, get all your prep done that you need to do for that day. Get rid of those tools, and then that all department is now done and finished with. And what that allows you to do as well, so when you do actually knock up plaster, so let's say we're going to knock up for that, just that ceiling, so you need to guess the amount, and you're better off guessing, you know, you might have a little bit left in the bucket, and then when you look in the bucket you think, oh, do you know what, there's like half a hawkful there, I might just be able to get those window reveals on. If I hadn't prepped them up, they're not ready to go. It means I've got to go, oh, prep that up, and I'm losing time there. So you just say, and it helps you use up all the plaster in your bucket, so you know you've got somewhere for it to go. In that room there was quite a lot of beads. I think there was 12 in total, and I went through about 3 or 4 racks of staples. So I don't know what the time is now. It's something, but it feels like I've been in there prepping up for ages. But now that's all done, we are ready to knock up some plaster and start getting it on the walls and the ceiling. So I don't know, knock up a bag or so. It does take it out of you going up and down ladders. It's not a big area, but there's a lot of vertical up and down in, going back down to your bucket, etc, etc. I mean, I'll very often just use the bucket all the time. I mean, you could use a board and stand in there, but the room's so, you know, small in the first place, you haven't really got any room to move. So there we go, prep's all done. Get the stuff out, chuck those little bits of bead away, don't kneel on them, and then put your machine edges together if you need to make a strong straight edge. That looks seamless. Right, let's get in there and do some actual plastering. in there, maybe. Okay, let's get back up there and flatten it all in so it's all nice and tidy. Okay, so we have just been all over it again, flatten it in with that 20x5 carbon steel trowel down there. And, you know, we're looking a lot better. This was probably, I think it was just shy of a bag and a half. There's to the touch feel, look, it's kind of pretty much ready to take the second coat. Even though just a second finish getting around flattening everything in. So yeah, pretty much a bag and a half, and I'm on the limit here. I'm not putting anything more on than this. I managed to use up every single bit of plaster in there, and very often, normally if you've knocked up a bag and a half and it was just one wall, you mix back into that and create some dirty water, so the second top coat goes off a little bit quicker. But in this case, I don't think I am. I'm going to wash that completely out and mix up with brand new fresh water to give myself as much time as possible climbing around in here like a chimpanzee. It's 7 AM and it's a bit windy, it's a bit rainy, and it's a little bit cold. It's a little bit dark out there. Let's go to work. Okay, so we went on as neat as we could, and I'm going to turn straight back round and start flattening this back in. Okay, with a 20x5 carbon steel trowel. Overcooked it a little bit, look. That much left in the bucket and on my hook. I might use some of that just to fill this out a little bit in some places. Other than that, what we'll probably do, because we've only got that little bit left in there, we've got these reveals left to do, we've got this one wall, and we've got that little bit that I showed you that I floated in there earlier. So, you know, we could probably get this last wall on, but what's the point in straining really hard to get a massive gauge in, and then be sitting in your van waiting for a tiny little bit to go off. So we'll probably just break it up into 2 even bits. A lot of going up and down the ladder, as you saw, and yeah, we'll just cruise it through. So what I'll probably do with this is leave a lot of that in the bucket, and because we're going to break it up into 2 manageable sections, we're going to speed up the set. Okay, so by mixing into this leftover plaster with some fresh plaster, it's going to speed up the set time. Okay, so for when we put the second coat on. So, and it's quite a bit there, so it should, because it's quite a bit more rather than just washing the bucket out, it should speed it up that little bit faster because there's more of it, you know. Right, let's go on and do that. The time is 9:38. This is what's happening to the wall when we touch it. It sticks to our fingers. We don't like that. So every now and again, doing these videos on the comments section, you do get somebody asking you to do specific timings for the plaster. So I've put that wall on, I've flattened it in, it took me X amount of time, and I've left it now at 9:38 in the morning. Now I've come here to make a couple of phone calls and wait for that to pick up. And I will tell you what the time is when we get back in there and start flattening that, putting the second coat on. Now, it's difficult to give timings because so much affects it, and the timings change all the time. You know, the temperature, there's not much evaporation going on. If the door's open, if there's a draft blowing across it from the summer breeze, you know, if it's freezing and snowing outside and the door's open, it does the opposite. There's so many things. So giving you a specific time is really going to be more misleading. It is never ever an exact science. You know, plasterers are probably the closest things to Jedi Knights, as we all know, on the building site, and you have to turn the computer off to be able to get those photon torpedoes. Was it photon torpedoes? Photons are Star Trek, and I'll probably get dragged over the coals for that one. But to get those torpedoes, whatever they were, down the exhaust pipe to cause the chain reaction to blow up the Death Star, you've got to turn the computer off. You've got to trust your feelings, man. This is why we go on the touch test. So what you need to do, if you are unsure, is get on as much as you are comfortable with. If you're brand new, one ball, a bag, sit with that. And then, you know, it's that you do your timings. It's going to take an experience. It's going to take you to go through, you know, it takes a plasterer probably at a minimum a couple of years to pick it up, to be able to get up to some sort of competent level where you can be left alone to get on some plastering, and without the boss nagging you, go, do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. You should be able to pick it up in a couple of years. By that time, you've gone through all the seasons, you've gone through all the different surfaces, especially in the sort of area that we're in now, where we're, you know, sometimes we're going over fresh plasterboard, sometimes we're going over painted surfaces, sometimes we're going over very porous old, because we're in people's homes, and I'm coming into kitchens and that, I'm getting a whole variety of different surfaces going on. If you're on the building sites, and you're just smashing out meters, you're just going over plasterboard all day long, okay, and you know what you're doing, you're like a robot. So when you're in places like this, you just got to have the experience. There's no two ways about it. There's nothing I can say or do or show you that's going to make you suddenly become a plasterer. All I can do is help you find your own path. You know, the way I do things isn't the way you do things, so all I can do is show you how I do it, and then you can interpretate that as you want, and you can put your own little twist on the way that you do things, or just think, oh, he does it like that, I might try it like that a little bit, and then, you know, you create your way of plastering. I'm not telling you how to plaster, I'm just showing you what I do. All right, so timings. As a rule of thumb, it could be anything between getting that wall flattened in, right, we'll wait for the second coat. That time could be anything between 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes if it's going over a really, really like no suction painted surface in the middle of winter, you know. So yeah, sorry, can't help you with timings. Just maybe, let's say 10 minutes on average. Okay, we're in there at room temperature. So right, I've had my little say on that, and I think that's all I have got to say about that. So I am going to make a phone call, and then I'm going to get back in there and check it with the touch test. If you can touch the plaster and it doesn't stick to your finger, then you're pretty much ready to rock and roll with a second coat. So while we're at it, why don't we talk about the actual troweling up as well, once you've got your second coat on. Again, it's down to experience. Now, the worst thing you can do is keep playing with it, because what you'll do at a wet stage, you'll upset the granules. You need an average, even amount of large granules, small granules. If you keep playing with it, the large granules will start banging into each other, and you'll bring the smaller granules to the surface, and it will get more and more puddingy, and it can't hold itself together. So basically, when you're troweling up, you leave it a period of time, you get across it efficiently and quickly. You don't dwell on one little bit going, and it's still like sagging under its own weight. Repeating the same action over and over again, expecting a different result, is bordering on insanity, I believe, as I've heard that said. So you get across it quickly. If it's sagging under its own weight on a bad joint of plasterboard, then you move on. You give it some time, then you come back and move across it quickly and efficiently. Again, if it looks like you're doing a better job, then it is better. If it looks like it doesn't seem to be working, leave it alone. Don't play with it. That'll be the next thing you'll be told all the time. Stop playing with it. My old boss, Jasper the Emperor, used to laugh and say, oh, we're going to have to light some straw and smoke him off the wall. So yeah, there you go. Experience again. Okay, so the time is 9:58, and applying the same amount of pressure. This is what we're getting. So we're hardly getting anything sticking to our fingers. It's still a tad on the wet side, to be honest with you. It's quite thick there, but you know, you might like it to go off a little bit firmer before you put the second coat on, or you might like it a little bit wetter, which it is now. I think we're going to get this on now, because I don't want to wait for it anymore. I'll mix this round now and mix some dirty water and get the second coat on this all right now. So look, actually, look, this is what I was just talking about. So let's get rid of that there. Now look here, see, we can see the shape of the bead here. That's because it's sagging under its own weight. So now I've just come across it, that's kind of disappearing because it's firmed up a little bit. There was no point in touching that before. There we go. Okay, we're at the troweling up stage, and look at all this residue I'm getting out of there. So it's like 11:15, and those walls are behaving strangely. I don't know what it is. I'm sure I was reading somewhere, it might have been on my own group, Plaster Master Smurf 74 on Facebook. And I'm sure I was reading somewhere on a post of somebody who was complaining that their multi-finish by British Gypsum is anybody having trouble with it? I can't remember exactly what they said, but the one thing that stuck in my mind is they said it was troweling up really weird. It was like chewing gum. And I've got to admit, I'm wondering if I've got a batch of the chewing gum plaster. It seems to be hanging around for ages. I'm getting a lot of residue coming out, which is slimy. That much residue in it, if that's coming out like that, it should be more grainy. It doesn't tend to get slimy until sort of like right at the end and watery. But yeah, it's going off really, really quite strangely. Maybe they've changed the formula to make things cheaper. On the bag, if you know sort of thing, you get two sort of like different types of multi-finish, and on the bag where the date is, it'll either say B2 or B3. I'm not sure, I've still got to look that up. I said I was going to look it up the other day, exactly what that means, what's the difference, but I just know B2 and B3, if you compare them, the colours are quite different. One's a bit lighter than the other in colour. So yeah, I don't know. These ones are B2s, I believe it said, but yeah, it is trailing up very, very bizarrely indeed, and just seems to be taking forever, which is another reason why you can't rely on people telling you specific times. It's just a feeling. Hopefully it'll pick up soon. It shouldn't be too far away, but yeah, it's definitely travelling up a bit weird. Have they changed it? Have they made it cheaper? Eh? I know I keep going on about you can't put on with flexi, but patches are really good. Okay, so we've got this last wall on, these reveals, and obviously just that little bit in there. So let's turn straight back round and flatten this in. And yeah, this multi finish does feel weird, I must admit. So like I say, these are really, really good for feathering out patches. So I've literally just put this on. Get this bit in here, give it a wet up. And we conjure up the fat, and that's what we use to feather the edges out. Now these, because these flexi trails are so flexible, they're really, really forgiving. So they follow the contours of the wall that you're going into. Now if we were using a stiff trowel, we'd end up making the patch even bigger and bigger and bigger, because it wants us to create a new level. But this just allows us to roll the patches. So we're collecting it up. And here, because we did that bonding this morning, we got a bit of high suction on it. But it's okay, I don't mind that because it's going to sand it off nice and quick. And of course I'm coming along this way, not up and down, because we don't want to be causing a ridge. Conjure that up there. Remember, of course, we PVA'd all the way up to here so it can take it. Just a little wet up at the edges. And there we go, that's sort of level we're at already. Another couple of goes and that'll be done. Okay, this side we are taking a sponge float to things. I would normally have gone right to this other edge. I'm making good with the curtains. sofas there, etc. And of course this dust sheet, which you're going to keep snagging. So we stayed away and just feathering in this edge here. Again, using that flexi trowel and this sponge float just to ease that round. Again, for patching in, very good results. So coming back to this thing, I did a message mate and said, what is this? Apparently it came with the bifold doors and he doesn't know what it's for either, so I don't know. Kind of like, does it fit in a section or something? It's exactly the right size, is it, for levering up or something? I don't know. If you know, let us know. Alright guys, thanks for watching that video. It was quite a long one, wasn't it? And again, heavy on the blues music. I do like to sift through the YouTube audio library of copyright free music, and there's some really good stuff on there. And lately, as you can tell through the last few videos we've been doing, I've been looking intensively through the blues and jazz section and found the best of that section I could possibly find. So I think I've exhausted that now in the last few videos. So I've got all the blues that's worth listening to on that section. So I hope you appreciate it. We'll probably change the music up a little bit again for the next video. So yeah, that's something else to look forward to, isn't it? So guys, yeah, I've been so busy lately with work and just personal things that need to be done. Just general life, nothing too dramatic or anything. Like today we got to well, my wife has got me redecorating. It's Saturday morning. I've been trying to get this video done. This is the third attempt I've taken to try and get this edited. 2 evenings, I've got about 5 minutes done, and this is Saturday morning, and I've sat here, got up 6 o'clock this morning with my wife. She had to go to work this morning, which she does on Saturdays. So yeah, I was up at 6 o'clock doing stuff, tidying up a bit and getting this done, and it is now 9 o'clock. So yeah, we just literally just got through it and it's ready. So I'm going to get this rendered and uploaded as soon as possible, really. So we'll see what the traffic's like on the internet. So yeah guys, thanks for watching. Like I say, I've been really busy, so we have been a little bit slow on the videos, but I don't think that's too much of a bad thing. I try to have a little break from it at times, to be honest with you, social media and stuff, especially Facebook. But I did mention my group there on Facebook, Plastermaster Smurf 74. It's actually quite a nice place on Facebook, so I welcome you to come there should you want to talk to me and other plasterers. There's quite a lot of people on there now. We've got 1,000 members on that group. So there was probably something else I was going to say, but I've forgotten, and by the time I do the next video I might remember. So it's just one of those, isn't it? Okay, so thanks for watching again. I'm going to get this little section on there, and I will see you on the next video. And yeah, alright, take it easy, enjoy the vid.